How's it going, everybody? This is Victus Kane with a World of Warships replay. Today I'm showing a game in the Tier 4 Japanese premium cruiser, the Yubari. Myself and my division mate Termisil are on the Big Race map, and we'll take a quick look here at the matchup, which has a rather incredible amount of destroyers in it. The enemy team is made up of half of their team are destroyers here. Tier-wise, it's not too bad, although they do have some pretty scary cruisers as far as we're concerned, so we really don't want to get into any fights with them. Battleship-wise, they do have a pretty big advantage over us as well. But, in any case, for Termisil and I, who is in his Iwaki Alpha there, we're both going to sail towards what we call at least a destroyer alley, and actually first I'm going to try to avoid smashing into this Minakaze there. But destroyer alley right there on the map is, well, as you might have guessed, or if you play this game you probably already know, a lot of destroyers like to go down there. It's very close quarters type fighting, and with there being 6 on the other team, that's probably where a number of their ships are going to end up. So while we're not looking to necessarily commit to the close quarters fighting down there, because neither of us are in ships that are any good at that, we do want to block it off and not give them free run to get to our carriers and get behind our team. So we know somebody's coming down there because I was just detected. And I should point out at this point that I have a destroyer captain in my Yubari currently, which allows me the use of that detection perk, and I also have Superintendent trained, which is why I have 2 uses of the defensive fire cooldown instead of the normal 1. So also this is a post-patch 0.41 replay as well, which is why that defensive fire cooldown even exists on the Yubari, in case you weren't already aware. So we don't spot anybody coming down here. In fact, we do see that the Omaha and the New York are awfully close, and so I really don't want to keep going too much further this way, lest I get discovered by that Omaha and he decides he wants to go for an easy kill. I'm going to turn around, especially now that we have spotted there are in fact at least 2 of their destroyers coming through the pass down here. And we have enough ships going around that left side of this island to sort of cut off any destroyers that go that way, that I'm going to head back to our initial position and try to cut off anybody that wants to come down this way. So this Wix, for example, I am going to try to take him out. And it shouldn't be too hard. And I'm also going to point out here, look at this horrendous torpedo arc that you have to fire your torpedoes on. And the torpedoes themselves aren't terrible. They're 6-kilometer range, and they're pretty fast. They go over 60 knots. And the reload time, again, is kind of what you'd expect for sort of low-tier torpedo reloads, but the arc is so terrible that it's difficult to find good uses for them. There I was just trying to force the destroyers to kind of maneuver. Quite frankly, I wasn't really going to use the torps for anything else, so might as well fire them. But this is about the normal sort of style of gunfights that I'm comfortable engaging in with the Yubari. These, just against sort of these destroyers, and we pick up our first kill there, and we see there's a Clemson coming out here too. So the Clemson does actually have a fair amount of guns. Well, 1 fewer now. It appears to that I at least knocked 1 of them off. I don't want to get too close to him, and I kind of derp a shot there right into the side of that mountain. But I'm going to spin around and try to go after him, but I want to try to keep my distance a little bit, because if he gets too close, well, 1, I don't want him to torpedo me. The Yubari is pretty maneuverable, but I don't even want to give him the chance. And 2, he has 6 guns that he's capable of firing at me at any one time, and we see there Termisil does manage to take him out, or I'm sorry, Termisil killed their South Carolina, I believe. Yes, that was trying to come through Destroyer Alley. And somebody else on our team killed the Clemson. But unfortunately, Termacil is on fire and ends up burning to death. And here we see their New York coming down Destroyer Alley as well. A lot of people really wanted to come down here this game for some reason. When they're in this game, there are so many destroyers. This is like the last place I'd want to be in a battleship personally. But anyway, I cut myself off before. I was talking about the Clemson and its amount of guns. If he knew that he could get Citadel penetrations on me with AP, because the Yubari is an extremely lightly armored cruiser. In fact, I believe I said before, it's basically an oversized destroyer, and it's not really that much more oversized than a destroyer is. But so he can fire AP at me and Citadel me to death in just a couple of salvos. So that's why I was a little wary about getting close. But a lot of destroyer players, especially down here at this tier, don't really know about firing, how effective AP can be, especially against the Yubari. So I wasn't super concerned. There, that Omaha gets taken out before he starts putting any fire on us. And I have a choice to make here. If you see on the mini-map, there is a destroyer spotted to my left. It's the Minikaze. I could go after him, but also this battleship is still alive, and our two destroyers are pretty hurt. I'm in a pretty good position to use my really shitty torpedo like tubes to try to get a kill here. And I decide that I'm going to go for it. The battleship right now, the New York, he's not currently paying any attention to me, but he will be here in a second when he turns to dodge these torpedoes, and unfortunately one of his secondaries knocks my engine out, and I immediately fix it because I don't want to be parked here in front of this battleship. And he blasts me with a full broadside of HE, and you can hear that ringing there in the background. It means he did in fact get a Citadel penetration against me, and unfortunately I'm on fire and I've already used my repairs, so I will end up taking a little bit more damage here as I burn. Now, it might have been a tad on the risky side to get that close to the New York, but I figured that if our destroyers were unable to kill him, then I would have had to fight him later on, and it would have been in a much less advantageous situation than when I chose to fight him now. So here, that Minikaze that we ignored earlier in favor of going after the New York is heading up towards where our carrier is, and we do have a Tenryu over there, and at the time I thought that, oh, that Tenryu, he's, you know, he'll be fine. He can kill the Minikaze and that extremely low health Omaha over there. He can take them both out easily enough. But upon rewatching the replay, I actually think he's AFK. So I don't think he'll be taking out anybody. We do have another Minikaze headed towards theirs up by our carrier, and then a very hurt Isakaze going after their Bogue. So as of right now, we've been keeping a pretty consistent lead all throughout this game, and it does seem at this moment that we are set up pretty well to win, although they did just kill the Tenryu, and I can't really see how the Minikaze fight up there is going, but I want to get into a position to help them out as quickly as I can. So as the Omaha starts to come into range here, I'm trying to, I really want to kill him before he can, I really want to kill him before he can see me. I'm on such low health at this point that he doesn't even really have to land too many hits at all, and I'm pretty much a goner. But our Isakaze just got killed, and it looks like that's where their last Minikaze is down by their carrier in the southeast corner of the map. But here I'm trying desperately to just land even just one more shell on that Omaha to finish him off, and he's almost out of my range, but we managed to get him. The enemy Minakaze managed to land a torpedo on ours, and I'm still being detected, which means that their Minakaze is pretty close by. And unfortunately, we just lost our carrier, which means we get the message that we never want to hear, especially when we are in a Yubari on less than 5,000 HP. So the Minakaze shows up, and quite frankly, I don't blame him. I think that he was probably thinking that he could just outgun me and kill me, and he's not too far off. So I managed to dodge his first salvo of torpedoes. He knocks my engine out, which I immediately repair, and I know that the reload time for Minakaze's torps are something like 30 seconds at least. So I have some time, and I'm pretty sure that I can gun him down before I have to worry about torpedoes again. But quite frankly, the amount of damage that he's doing to me with just his guns, I need to kill him quickly. But unfortunately, RNG is just throwing my shells kind of all over the place here, and it's taken me much longer than it should to kill him, but I managed to finally get lucky and or start aiming correctly and get him. The carrier is flying some fighters over here, which can't hurt us, but they are spotting us, which means that the other Minakaze on their team knows where I am right now, and I have no idea where he is, which is dangerous because he can torpedo me without me ever spotting him. And I don't know what kind of life he's on. If he wants to just get into a gunfight against me, he could probably win. But right now, that might not even matter because we have a flight of dive bombers coming in. But I do have my defensive fire cooldown, so I try to turn sideways to them to minimize the target that they have to shoot at. And I activate my defensive fire and manage to get lucky as they sort of scatter their bombs everywhere and I don't take a hit. But they'll probably be back before I get the chance to catch their carrier. Now we still have just under 8 minutes left in this game, so that is plenty of time for me to make it to their cap circle and cap. But the problem is, as I said before, I don't know where that destroyer is. And I really am not comfortable jumping into the cap circle without spotting him. Well, wait a minute. That smoke couldn't be from a destroyer that was there earlier, because it would have gone away by now. Which means that, for whatever reason, the last Minakaze on their team deployed smoke over there, and now I know where he is. Now this is a really dangerous maneuver, a gamble, I guess, that I'm taking. He can spot me right now, or he has me spotted because of those planes. So he probably sees me coming around this corner and is getting ready to fire a salvo of torpedoes if he hasn't already. So I need to try to maneuver as soon as I come around here. And in fact, it looks like that's exactly what he was trying to do, but he fired a little too late and ended up missing with all of his torps. But it doesn't matter, I'm on such low HP, well, even lower now. He can just outgun me probably before I can kill him. But he makes a bit of a mistake here, and he actually turns towards me, and he pulls 2 of his guns off of me in order to face me for whatever reason. Maybe he's trying to make it harder for me to hit him, but we're so close that it doesn't really matter. And the Minakaze's turrets turn slowly enough, even after the most recent patch, which did buff them slightly as far as their turning rotation speed goes. It still, I think, was a poor decision to pull all 4 of his guns off of me. He might have been able to take me out. But we're not out of the, well, I would say out of the water yet, but I think that's a silly pun to make in this situation. The dive bombers are coming back, and my defensive fire cooldown is, well, not done being cooled down yet. So we have a problem here. This is really just going to come down to luck, and if I can throw my ship in the right direction at the right time. I make a bit of a mistake here, and I kind of straighten out to him, and I get extremely lucky that he didn't manage to land a bomb on me. And that's partly down to, well, let's be honest, it's pretty much all down to RNG and the fact that dive bombing is a little not that great at this stage of the game. But what I can do is I can follow those dive bombers back to the enemy carrier, and I know that the carrier is at least in the direction of the cap circle. So my initial plan is that as I get closer, I'm going to try to cap, because it's coming down to the 3-minute mark, which is I need to be in the cap circle at 3 minutes if I want to cap. If I don't see the carrier, I'm going to try to cap and just hope for the best. Otherwise, I'm going to go after the carrier and try to kill him. But I have really no way of knowing specifically like where he's going to be. So, as we're coming around this corner here, well, wait a minute. These dive bombers are just kind of parked. Is it like a glitch? Maybe that's where... Huh. Well, that's really weird. Maybe the carrier is right there and it's like a glitch or something where they froze on landing. Yep. Okay, that's where the carrier is. So, come around the corner. This should be a relatively easy torpedo shot to land, and we'll have him. What the hell was that? So my best guess of what happened is that there was some kind of desync issue with the server, and that caused me to see the planes as static when he launched them to attack me. Now, because I didn't know they were coming, I didn't take any evasive actions, and I didn't use my defensive fire cooldown, which had just come back. Now, would that have saved me? Who knows. But, in any case, despite the defeat, it was still a good game in a ship that I think is normally kind of difficult to get good games in. So I hope you guys enjoyed the replay, and I will see you in the next one.